We're in a fight every day, and we're fighting that fight. What we need to do is make sure we use our money to put our members to work. That's growing the labor movement. That's what we do at Ullico. That's your company. That's how we do it to make ourselves stronger. We're rebuilding America's infrastructure ourselves with union dollars every day.
He was a champion of the labor movement.
He was union through and through, and he brought that to Ullico every day.
He was always steps ahead of everybody else. Ed saw the future before the rest of us did.
He wanted to make a difference, and he did make a difference.
You couldn't be with Ed without it being an uplifting experience. Every time you spoke to him, you felt a little bit better about yourself.
Well, you know, there's a Yiddish word, it's called mensch. A mensch is someone who is genuinely human, compassionate, a real person, a real individual.
He was the happy warrior. You never saw Ed without a smile on his face or asking anybody how they were doing.
Ed was a very caring person that cared about his family, his friends, his employees at Ullico, and the union members that he represented.
He left things better than he found them, without a doubt. That's Ed Smith.
I never worked a job that I didn't have you guys out there that I was working alongside of you, whether it was road work or asphalt work or bridges or pipeline. And I did become business manager of my local when I was 21 years old.
Ed loved his union as much as he loved anything in this world. It was part of who he was. It was his fabric of who he was and how he lived his whole life.
I got my 50-year card last year, so this labor movement's been my entire life.
He was one of the greatest trade unionists that I ever met, that I think the movement ever had.
I always looked at the union, and my father and 4 uncles, my son and daughter, my wife, all been union members, and I look at it as my family.
Labor runs through both our families, and I think that's what bonded us so closely together from the very early days of our careers. He saw something in me because I came from a union family.
Every piece of clothes I ever had, every meal I ever had came from this labor movement, from this union. It's worth fighting for. It's what we do every day.
All the good things that happen in this international union have the fingerprints of Eddie Smith on them.
So passionate about workers, but he was incredibly passionate about people and about the underdog. And the worker is a lot of times the underdog, but he loved the underdog, and he always wanted to help people.
He was a happy warrior because he knew who he was fighting for and who he was fighting against. So he was fighting for members and members' family his entire career.
The AFL-CIO, at the direction of President Gompers, formed a committee, and with a $300,000 loan, started the Union Labor Life Insurance Company, and it opened for business in 1927.
Ullico was a natural next step for him after LiUNA because it tied in his desire to grow the labor movement, and at the same time, he had a really sound business mind.
The leadership skills that Ed Smith brought to Ullico, his knowledge of our marketplace, his focus to what needed to be done really was spectacular.
His sense of humor and his sense of optimism for what we could accomplish as a company never faded and never failed, and it was always a good motivator for all of us.
We wouldn't be where we're at today if it wasn't for Ed Smith.
Ed leading the helm, we got an A rating for our Union Labor Life Insurance Company, first time since 1955.
AM Best, that's our regulator. It's how we get our rating. It's very important for us to be able to do business with consultants and brokers that we have an A rating. And he was tickled beyond belief that we were able to get that upgrade when we got it, because it was part of his hard work, right? It was part of, again, taking this company to the next level.
When Ed started with us as CEO, I want to say we had roughly $4 billion in assets under management. Now we have 11.
Here's what Ullico does. Ullico protects unions, and Ullico grows unions.
Ed Smith understood how to put those dollars together and create power. Power for our unions, power for our trust funds, power for our members and their families.
The one thing that Ed is going to be the most proud of that we could carry on is to continue to offer products and services that continue to grow the labor movement.
These private markets, the real estate and the J for Jobs debt and the infrastructure, we have what's considered the gold standard in RCP.
Ed was a visionary when it came to what we call today capital strategies. Ed was doing it way before anybody even understood what it was.
It has to be built union, it has to be maintained union, and so that resonates through everything that we do, and the marketplace loves that.
We're doing everything from water projects to wind projects to power plants.
When the Ullico Infrastructure Fund was just an idea, it was Ed Smith's idea. He was the one that was fighting for it.
Honestly, he was one of the few people around at the time who had the vision to see what it could be in 10 years.
There were some board members who felt that, for example, the infrastructure was not the right time. It wasn't really be successful. And he and I talked about it. And I said, Ed, you're taking a big risk. If this thing doesn't go, it would be on your plate, you might say. And he says, no, we're going to do it. It's going to be successful.
Happily, he was in a place where he could execute on the vision and bring it to fruition. So, all good credit to him.
That money has put over 30,000 building trade members, including over 5,000 laborers to work. That's what we do, creating union jobs throughout this country.
That's Ullico's vision. That was Eddie Smith's vision, to make sure that we get the returns that our pension funds need, but at the same time, we create union jobs.
He knew that Ullico needed to have a fund that could set the standard for the way you can invest in infrastructure and do it the right way, do it the union way.
We were awarded the $8 billion rebuilding of JFK Terminal 1 in New York City, an $8 billion project, 4,000 construction jobs, financed in part by Ullico, our infrastructure fund.
Ed was dogged in his pursuit that Ullico was going to be a player in that project.
It was a real milestone for us, Ullico, participating in the biggest P3 in the nation.
The new Terminal 1 is proud to play a key role in the Port Authority's $19 billion redevelopment of JFK Airport.
It almost didn't happen. And you know what? We were short on funds. And it was Ed Smith from Ullico, God rest his soul, after a conversation with us all, that said Ullico will put up $30 million at risk to make this project happen. And they did that, at risk. And through the hard work of everybody here, we got this project done. But without Ullico, none of us would be here today.
We're in a fight as a labor movement. We're in a fight on all fronts. Why do they want to destroy the labor movement? Because they know if there's no unions, there's nobody left to speak for workers in this country. When the labor movement's strong, America's strong. It's what kind of country we want for our kids to be in. What if all workers had health care for their families like your members do? What if all workers, when they were too old to work, had a pension? What if all workers had a voice on the job? I'd say that's the kind of America we want for our kids. That's the American dream. And when we have strong unions, we have a strong country, and everybody wins.
He was a big, jolly guy, but he was the smartest guy out there. He was playing chess when everybody else was playing checkers.
One of a kind.
He was larger than life.
And he really took everybody into his orbit and made him feel special, and he listened to him. He's just a wonderful guy.
The gentle giant, a man of his word, a man of real conviction, vision, heart, soul, what America's all about.
You think about how many lives that he touched. Who can say that they touched hundreds of thousands, if not more, of men and women, working men and women, and made a difference in their lives?
I saw a group of men in my hometown. I saw them tear a building down.
I think the legacy of Ed Smith is going to be the work we do here at Ullico. We're going to continue Ed's legacy by creating more opportunities for people to be in a union. That's the best thing we could do to celebrate Ed Smith's life.
I thought to myself as I walked away, which of these roles am I going to play? Am I the type that constantly tears down?
He was just a special human being.
Or am I the type that builds with care in hopes that my family, my country, and my union will be glad that I was there?
He was a boss, he was a friend, he was a mentor, but he was like a dad to me. And I just want to make him proud. And I know everybody else just wants to make him proud.
He was a brilliant, kind, positive person. He was a wonderful man. And he was the kind of guy, after you met him, you knew you were lucky to know him.
He would be proud if we continue not only his legacy, but to take it to the next level, to leave it better than the way that we found it, because he sure as hell did that.
He's missed. He's missed every single day.
I miss him. I love him. And it will always be with us. And his vision and legacy will live on forever.